Hey guys, it is Jedwado here, and today I'm doing a commentary of the movie Shot Treatment, starring Cliff DeYoung, Jessica Harper, Richard O'Brien, and Patricia Quinn, featuring Little Nell and Rick Mayall. I'm starting the movie in 3, 2, 1. Of course, there's the Fox logos, as always. I'm trying out a new method for recording today, so I hope it turns out well. Currently, we're 18 seconds into the film. 20 now. And I want to first talk to you a little bit about Revenge of the Old Queen, which was the original sequel Richard O'Brien wrote to Rocky Horror. If you were not aware, Shot Treatment is a semi-sequel to Rocky Horror. The movie also opens with this weird narration. It's really weird. So, Revenge of the Old Queen, as it says in this Wikipedia thing I've got here, and no, not actual Wikipedia, but shut up. I will be reading out the whole thing, so this is probably the most you'll ever know about the actual thing. So, yikes. What is that sound effect? Oh, this is my favourite overture ever, because it sounds so weird. There's a bit where it sounds like a guitar has just gone wrong. Actually, before I start talking, just wait for this. There it is. Oh, the guitarist was just drunk that day. I swear to God he was. I love it. So, as it says here, Revenge of the Old Queen is a failed project and never made sequel to the Rocky Horror Picture Show by Richard O'Brien. In this script, the events of Rocky Horror shows his heels and the Brad are non-canon. Though never produced, elements of the story were carried over into a later Rocky Horror Project O'Brien, Rocky Horror The Second Coming. Characters. The Old Queen, a very large royal grandmother who, although dying, is not going quietly into the dark night. She is not to be crossed and not to be argued with. She resembles an Elizabeth Taylor look-alike that's been drowned for a week or three. Don't step on her winkle pickers. Steve Majors, he's a youngish guy who's trying to find the aliens that were responsible for his elder brother, Brad Majors, going off the rails some years ago and winding up as a bottomless go-go dancer in Vegas. Steve is a very serious young man who rarely sees the funny side of anything, including himself. No offence to the Mormons, but he'd fit right into their missionary look. Lord de Lordy, the first cousin to the Old Queen and next in line, he hopes. For the royal deck chair, he's overfed, overweight, overdressed, and oversexed. He flatters himself that he is a cross between Errol Flynn and Victoria Principal. Hence the pencil moustache plus thigh boots over his fishnets. Riffraff, a bad-tempered, mean-spirited opportunist who is also the unknown but suspected killer of his own sister and the Old Queen's only begotten son, the late Frankenfurter. Ray Ambo, the head of a US agency which investigates UFO and extraterrestrial activity on Earth. He is really into expensive designer suits, ties, shoes, and aftershave in a big way. He is also the possible father of Sonny. Sonny Ambo, Sonny, is an outrageous, smart, good-looking, charming teenager. He's completely without morals or compassion. Everybody adores him and sees no reason why he should be any different. Judith Bankmeyer. Judy is a beautiful, rather over-endowed young woman who is looking for Mr. Right. Luckily for her and us, she meets him in the shape of Lord de Lordy. She's fun, she's smart, she's a honeypot. Oh, this is so Richard O'Brien for any of you that have seen Rocky Horror. Gemma. Janet Majors. She's around 35 or so, but looks at least 50. She drinks, smokes, dyes her hair, hooks, and watches television. Probably all at the same time. She's a mess, and she's also possibly Sonny's real mother. Mary Lou. Ray's bright-eyed, long-haired, glossy-lipped, short-skirted secretary. Like Ray, she is also from the south. She ain't smart, but she sure is purty. This is definitely something written by Richard O'Brien. I don't actually mind this song, you know. Dun, 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 you're not going where Transylvanians, the subjects of the Old Queen. Various earthlings, hotel staff, guests, diner worker, customers, etc. So, that is all the characters of Revenge of the Old Queen. And I think in the description of this, I'll link the only existing song from it that I know exists, which is The Moon-Drenched Shores of Transylvania, which the video I found is also paired with a painting featured in the Rocky Horror Castle. That is one of the most mysterious things that I've actually thought about a lot before I found out about this unmade sequel. Because if you think about it, at the end of Rocky Horror, like when they're all, dying, when Magenta says about the moon-drenched shores of their lovely planet or whatever, it's like, that's a really good description of something, and I love it. Yeah. So that's the only song that I believe exists from it. Correct me if I'm wrong. None of you even know about this. I bet you're all shocked I'm even talking about it. Right. Essentially, the plot is about a decade and a half since the events of Rocky Horror. Riff Raff is found mourning over the dead sister Magenta. He killed her in a fit of jealous rage because she had an affair with Lordy Lordy. And he was in line for the Old Queen's royal deck chair after Frankenfurter died. Magenta's current deceased status, although, has not put a damper on their relationship. Riff is summoned before the Old Queen herself, who commands that she return to Earth and bring back her son so Frank can assume his rightful place as heir before she dies. It is apparent that Magenta's murder isn't the only one that Riff is hiding. So essentially, Riff Raff has to go back in time to save Frankenfurter from Riff Raff himself. So yeah. It's a very weird thing. I'll put the link to the, page I'm on right now. Anyway, the point is, Revenge of the Old Queen never got made. And there does exist a script, like online, that was possibly written by Richard O'Brien. And it's very odd. There's also one for The Brad and Janet Show, which is essentially an early script of this shock treatment. Farley's flavors, fabulous, fast, food. Notice the swastika-like logo, which is kind of, representative of the fact that, he has a grip over the whole town. Much like Hitler had a grip over the whole of Germany. So next I'm going to talk about Rocky Horror Shows His Hills, which is less of a story. But here we go. Rocky Horror Shows His Hills is a failed project and never made sequel to the Rocky Horror Picture Show by Richard O'Brien. Transsexual mad scientist Frankenfurter is revived from the dead by three of his gay courts. He is delighted to learn that the girl he seduced, Janet, is pregnant and about to give birth. He quickly turns a small town into a swarm of raging transsexuals, but then his body starts to decompose. The reviving formula administered incorrectly, and Frank and his cronies are overwhelmed by the irate townspeople. Janet and her baby are taken away from the melee by Frank's two former nemesis, Riff Raff and Magenta. Though never produced, elements of the story were carried over into a later Rocky Horror project by Ray O'Brien, The Rocky Horror Second Coming. Right, so here is the story we've got. Rocky Horror Shows His Heels was written in 1978 and sent to Fox representatives on June 5th, 1979 for the possibilities of making a film in the future. The studio received a 71 pages long script and a 1 hour long cassette with the music and 2 pages long rough draft. After reading it, the studio considered the project to have fair characterization, dialogue and a structure, plus a good uniqueness of the storyline. Nonetheless, they wanted Tim Curry to reprise his role as Frankenfurter. When O'Brien talked with Curry, he didn't want to do the same character again. Also, Jim Sharman, the director of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, was resistant to do something he felt he'd already done. Sharman expressed interest in doing something similar but different. Shock treatment. At this point, the basic story was dumped. O'Brien, however, felt he had spent a great deal of time working on the songs and music. As such, he was not ready to abandon them. He corrected this problem by creating a new story around the existing songs. This evolved into another film project that never made The Brad and Janet Show, which later was rewritten in the form of Shock Treatment. Essentially, the plot is Frank comes back from dead and he turns the whole town of Denton into raging transsexuals, and then, he has to have young blood to keep himself alive. A 1 hour cassette was delivered to Fox along with the script. The full list of songs is unknown, as only a few are mentioned in the studio reader notes. The next is a list of those mentioned songs. It's very important to note that only the names of the songs were mentioned, not all the original lyrics. All the songs were rewritten for different scenarios for the Brad and Janet Show, and once again for Shock Treatment. Breaking Out, Rocky Horror, Bitch in the Kitchen, Brad and Janet. Thank God I'm a Man, Harry Weiss. Electroshocks, which was Shock Treatment by Dr. Scott, Brad and Rocky. Little Black Dress by Frank and Company. I'm Gonna See My Baby, which is about Frank seeing Janet's baby. He Lived and Died for Rock and Roll, which is actually about Eddie. Looking for Trade, which is about Frank looking for blood to keep himself alive. Look What I Did to My Id, which is sung by the town of Denton, which is about them being transsexuals. You're Looking at an Ace by Frank, and Dual Duet, Riff Raff and Frank. Essentially in this, Rocky is still alive, and Frank is still dead, but he takes Frank's body that is badly decomposing to Dr. Scott, and Brad and Janet have been turned freakish by Frank's influence, and Janet is about to give birth, but Brad can, quote, no longer contain his homosexuality and leaves his wife wearing high heels, which is Bitch in the Kitchen. Brad visits crippled Dr. Scott, also turned gay by Frank. Then Rocky walks in with Frank's body. Brad realizes that Janet's baby is either Rocky's or Frank's. Rocky insists on Scott revitalizing Frank's body. Scott determines the chemicals necessary to revive the alien transsexual. Meanwhile, Emily and Harry Weiss, Janet's mum and dad, are shocked to learn that Brad left her. Dad is alarmed at hearing of Brad's homosexuality, which you'll see that appear back in this movie. Brad and Scott give Frank some of their own blood, and eventually Frank is reborn. Electroshocks manage to clear up on the mold on his face. Shock treatment. Frank is delighted to be alive again, and is even more pleased to learn he has a baby on the way. So that's pretty much the story. Did you know that Shot Treatment in 2015 was turned into a musical? Well, was done as a musical, because it's only ever been a movie, which is this movie here. So this is the first proper musical scene. I think this is very good because it's like this movie was the first ever movie to really show about, reality TV and the effects it has on people. Long before reality TV was the, thing. There's a funny thing that Patricia Quinn recalls, where Richard O'Brien was like, he phoned her up, and when he saw the trailer for The Truman Show, he screamed at her through the phone, "They've stolen my goddamn movie." Which is pretty funny. But yeah, Shot Treatment is one of my favourite movies, actually. Like, I know a lot of people hate it as a sequel to Rocky Horror, but I like it. I think it works well. If you think about it, the effects that would actually have on them two would be very weird. After Rocky Horror, what do you think would happen to him? Like, Brad's still trying to return to his normalcy from what he knows, and Janet is probably like just more opened up than she is, So she probably had more of a positive, experience than like Brad. Like, if you look at him, he's always giving longing looks as if he's missing something. Can no longer contain his homosexuality. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's talk a bit more about Shot Treatment, the musical. Shot Treatment, the musical is a musical production with book and lyrics by Richard O'Brien, original arrangement by Richard Hartley. The musical is a theatrical adaptation of the 1981 film Shot Treatment. It contains new versions of music from the never-made Rocky Horror Show's Hill script. The musical is the second theatrical production of O'Brien after the Rocky Horror Show from 1973. Unlike the 1981 film, which was established as a parallel instead of a sequel, the musical is indeed a sequel to Rocky Horror, as this new musical takes place 7 years after the events occurred in Rocky Horror. Brad and Janet Majors are having problems with their marriage since the events of Rocky Horror Show, and so Janet has brought them to be the latest guests on Denton's reality show for troubled couples. As Brad's increasingly repressed attitudes come to the fore, it's decided that the only course left for him is to be placed in the hands of a TV station's doctors for an intense course of shock treatment. Very interesting. Here's Richard O'Brien and Patricia Quinn, and a very good shot that I do like. Jessica Harper there was also in Phantom of the Paradise about 6 years before this. 6 or 5. There's Little Nell again, who played Columbia, with long hair this time, which we're not used to seeing. She has a pixie cut, I believe. Yeah. Cliff DeYoung, who hasn't been in much else, to be honest. Richard O'Brien was also in The Crystal Maze. He was the host of it in the 90s, I believe. Patricia Quinn, she was in Monty Python, Meaning of Life. I believe Little Nell was also in Pink Floyd The Wall. There's Rick Mayall, believe it or not. Famous comedian from Bottom, Drop Dead Fred, Grindhouse Paradiso, I think that's the name. What else? Rick Mayall's been in loads. Like this, I think this is his first film, and he actually sings in it. There's Bert Schnick, played by Barry Humphries. Harry and Emily Weiss, Janet's parents. They're talking now about the fact Brad is apparently adopted, something that we never learned in Rocky Horror. Ooh, we are 20 minutes and 18 seconds in. Such a classic reality TV thing, isn't it? Where everyone overreacts. It's so weird, the relationship between these three characters. Obviously, you got Cosmo Nation, who are siblings, and then Bert Schnick, who's just this unexplained foreign character. You know? He's a TV host that no one really knows where he's come from. As I gotta say, I really do like Patricia Quinn's hair in this movie. She looks great. 1981. I think she did Meaning of Life in about 1984 or something. I don't remember that movie came out. Richard O'Brien hates his role in this. He doesn't like the way he acts it, but I think he's great. Because you really can't take your eyes off him. It's not a bad thing either. It's a compliment. Yeah, this set's going to make you feel very odd. Because it'll jump back and forth a lot. Obviously, here's Janet and Brad. It is a bit odd how Janet just goes along with them, hospitalising her husband. Although, to be fair, he has been, throughout the whole first, section of the movie, he has been acting rather stiff. And I do like the way, even though Cliff Young isn't really in this movie, as Brad anyway, he also plays the villain Farley Flavors, who, plot twist, is his twin brother. Yeah. Jessica Harper's got a very good voice, but unfortunately, it's not very well suited for this role. Because Janet in the first movie, she was always quite squeaky, like clean cut girl, but now she's all deep voiced. But she does play the very desperate housewife, very worn out and bored with her life. You can just see it in her eyes. She does have that kind of stare throughout the whole movie when she kind of gets a bit brainwashed. But I do like that little, it's just the little things that make you appreciate the movies more. Yeah, it's kind of funny how their life becomes a living advertisement. I do like Little Nell and Rick Mayall's contribution to this movie because you never really focus on him at all. Like I don't even think Rick Mayall has that many lines, but still, it's just like they feel very believable because they don't overact. I think that's what I like about movie acting as opposed to stage acting. Because on stage, everyone overreacts a lot, like pantomime. But when it's just, movies, it has to be subtle. I think it's very fine details. You can also get a lot more creative with, like, a set design and shots. You can get very creative, and there is a lot of creative shots in this movie. There's a lot of very well framed stuff. Yeah, we're about to get "Thank God I'm a Man," which is possibly the funniest song just because of who Richard O'Brien is. The fact he wrote Rocky Horror Picture Show, he wrote the entire, probably gayest musical ever. He wrote this homophobic song, this trans homophobic, very American boy song, all American boy. It's amazing. It's so funny just because at the end, just it's it's perfect satire, in my opinion. Just I'm gonna catch up on a few jobs outside. I'm a man. Tolerance for the ethnic races, huh? He's got the American logo everywhere. And of course, in pure Richard O'Brien fashion, the song just sounds great anyway. Like that guitar riff is just great. I also love the drums in the background. Like it's very militaristic. The set designer and like costume designer, who did all the costumes for this movie, who I believe is Sue Blaine, if I'm right. She went to thrift stores in America and just like bought the most outrageous colours, and that's how she came up with all the audience's costumes. Uh, I'm believing that thrift stores are the equivalent of charity shops. Just the fact he wrote that, and it's just so ridiculous to say. Like even in the 80s, like it's there's no place for it. It's ridiculous. Also, that shot there of the garage door coming down, that was a good one. So notice how he's blind, yet he knows exactly where she is with her hand. Hmm. There's Rick Mayall again, in a very weird haircut. Here we got Betty and Ralph Hapshat from the first movie. They get married right at the beginning. And now here they are again. I love the fact they bring him back and it's even the same dude playing Ralph and he's just as hokey here as he was in the original. Where is he? I think he's going to come in now. There's Charles Gray, the original narrator. I'm so glad they got him back because he's like one of my favourite parts of Rocky Horror. But in fact, it's probably the part you'd forget about instantly. despite the fact he's like the very last moments of the movie. It's just like if you took him out, it wouldn't be the same movie. I love the way he bites the apple there. I love the little candles in the shot there. I love their duo in this movie. I think it's Ruby Wax and Charles Gray. Like, they just work off each other. Like, Ruby Wax plays the very typical 80s woman, and I just love her. She's such a power character, honestly. Like, it's such an aesthetic. The first time anyone ever sees Farley Flavors outside of, you know, the movie. First time the characters see him. I love that shot there of all them near the TV. There's a great bit where Little Nell gets on top. That, I believe, is going to be the thumbnail for this video. Well, commentary, anyway. I love the way she's kind of being seduced by the music. I really do love Rit Mayall in this movie because it's so out of place, but it's perfect. Here it is. Just think about how evil that is. He's gonna take over the entire human race and blow up the moon. Let's think about these things he's like threatening to do. It's mental. The way they are quite literally praising the TV. Another good, little tidbit. You're not just looking at a fast food king. I love the way they all dance on TV. His little arm moves there, I love that. Like, you can just see where the birthplace of Rit Mayall is. Like, as we know him. It's a bit unnerving to see Little Nell with lots of hair there. Obviously, the TV is the equivalent of the throne in Rocky Horror and Sweet Transvestite. And we'll actually see that throne later on. Ooh. see. It's very weird how they try to like she's very vulnerable in this moment. I think this is also the equivalent of like the seduction scene with Frank. So essentially what they want to do, they want to turn her into a reality TV star and have her become very popular so they can like sell her off to Valley Flavors so his shows can get better ratings and then he can make more money. And also, Valley Flavors is very happy to see Brad, his twin brother, who ended up having the better childhood because he ended up going to the upper class part of the neighbourhood rather than the lower class, like Farley. And he ended up having a better life overall. And this is his way of getting revenge by twisting Janet's mind and essentially making her his. It's a very simple plot to figure out, but the movie is a very weird thing to understand because there's so many obstacles thrown in the way of understanding it. Like, I probably should have explained this way earlier on in the film than 36 minutes in, but why the hell not? No one's stopping me. This is my commentary. No, at least a couple of people, maybe 3 people, will listen to this the whole way through, and about one of them with the movie. Gonna take one of my trademark sips now. Hope you enjoyed that. Fortunately, there isn't really an equivalent of I'm Going Home in this movie. There's no really sad songs or slow songs. So I can't do my big gulps. Sadness. And also, just for the record, I have unlisted my Beetlejuice commentary. It is still available on the playlist of commentaries on my channel, and you can still watch it, but it is not available if you just go to my uploads. Because I'm going to be redoing it with a new commentary because I'm not happy with the original. And I'm not very happy with the fact you have to pause the movie and wait for me to catch up. That really annoyed me. Plus now my Blu-ray has arrived so I can properly, comment on the film. I will only be doing commentaries for films that are on Blu-ray. Exceptions being Tommy and The Wall, because they do not have a Blu-ray release. Essentially anything you can't get on Blu-ray, I'll do a commentary for. And anything you can do on Blu-ray. With my movies and TV shows, I'll always try to get the highest quality possible for it. Also, I love how we saw this set just a second ago, but you don't really notice that you saw it. And you'll see it later on, but you don't know it's the same room. It's just great filmmaking. I know, so this set is just brilliantly designed with all the windows. And obviously the plot twist, just like Riff Raff and Magenta, another sibling thing. This time a little more ham-fisted in. Because it was a bit more subtle in Rocky Horror. Why I say subtle, it's more just the fans, assuming what was happening. You play for broke. Everyone has a great voice in this movie. There's no really poor singers. Everyone sounds great. Even Rick Mayall. Apart from maybe Bert Schnick, Barry Humphries also plays Dame Edna. Look that up. Go to sleep. We're now 40 minutes in. I think I should do commentaries for all 6 Star Wars films. And yes, I say all 6. Episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Revenge. Or Return of the Jedi. Can't believe I mess up. The original title was Revenge of the Jedi, so screw you. Well, technically the original title was Return of the Jedi, then they changed it to Revenge of the Jedi. Then there was a thing called Blue Harvest to like trick the crew into thinking it was a different movie. And then it was Return of the Jedi again. Oy vey. And I think I might even have a guest star for all of those, my friend Isaac, or my body double, Isaac. I might even do the 3 Indiana Jones films. But yeah, anyway, I do not count the sequels as films because they're just no good. A shocking revelation. Birchnick is not blind. A weird thing is they abbreviate Cosmo to Mac in this movie, which is something I've never really thought about. Can you really... Is Cosmo a suitable thing, like, to be shortened to Mac? I've never really thought about it. It's a bit of an odd subject. Although a weird thing is, there was a Disney movie called, I think it was Teen Beach Movie, and it had Barry Bostwick in it, and one of the characters was called Mackenzie, and it was shortened to Mac in the movie. And then, like, Barry Bostwick was also Brad in the original movie. Another good shot there. I really do hope my audio sounds better than it did last time. And last time I did in Rocky Horror, not Beetlejuice. I'm using a better headset now. I've kind of got this dual system. Currently I'm holding the actual headphones to use the mic. I'm speaking into it now. Oh! I think it's pretty loud anyway, so that when I just... Oh! That should be very loud, I believe. But yeah, I'm holding it pretty close. I'm not talking too loud either, so... yeah, I'm wearing headphones to listen to the movie, so you might be able to hear it. Hey, let's do the time warp. You can't really blame him for accidentally recreating his, most well-known song. Caviar, one of the most expensive things ever. Ugh. As you notice, a complete 180 from, you know, when she played Phoenix in Phantom of the Paradise, now playing the new and improved 80s Janet, you know, in Shot Treatment. Because it really does show two sides. So this is very, very 80s, 90s. And in Phantom of the Paradise, she's very 70s. Like, very 70s. Like, what? I'm probably going to do a commentary for that, but very, very 70s. I like the idea of having guests on, you know, for my commentaries. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I like it, you know. I'll probably have my friend Isaac, Gemma, or Hannah sometimes on. It'll just add a bit more, you know, add more conversation. Certainly Star Wars with me and Isaac. I feel like that'd be great. The Wall and Tommy too. Maybe my friend Robert, but probably not. But yeah, it'll be great. I've got a lot planned. This is going to be my main type of content now. It's not just because it's, you know, easy to do, but it's just like I'm very passionate about films, and they're probably the thing I care about most, you know. And so, what's better to talk about films than over the film, a commentary? Not only can I, you know, be inspired by what's happening on screen to talk, but you know, I can just I can talk for at least like, sometimes like 2 hours at a time, you know, just about everything I know. Look at Richard O'Brien back there just dancing. I love Richard O'Brien. He's so wacky. I just love him. I see five flavors there. He's probably just having a field day, you know, with the you know, the fact the rate he knows this is going to go through the roof ratings wise, which is he's played like such a weird character, but he's played so perfectly. It's crazy. Like it's exactly what you'd think he is. Oh. We're about halfway into the film now. This is the me of me. Me, me, me. I love this band here, just like rocking out with it. He just steals a guitar and starts playing. Farley Flavor's so weird in this scene. That's the facial expressions I can't take. He's literally losing it over the ratings, especially. He knows this is going to be like a financial success because she's like wrecking everything. You know, that's all he cares about. You know, just looking great on TV. It's such a great prediction. Like Richard O'Brien is so ahead of his time. You know, he knew exactly what would happen, and it's kind of scary. It's kind of the same rock era, but not to the same extent. Like this was made in 1981. 1981. This feels like it was made in like 2000, and that's a compliment for once. No one likes the 2000s. what's happened here is, like, she's literally just been replaced. Just like everyone is on TV. You know? It just shows you how fickle it is. Like, TV is, like, the easiest thing to just, like, recreate. You know? It's like, no one matters. Yeah, it's a bit of a pessimistic way of looking at things, but it's true. On TV, like, no one matters. Like, Janet's going to be easily replaced, as you'll see in a few scenes. It's so easy. Look how everyone's turned crazy just because she's been given a little bit of fame and a little bit of, like, everyone loving her. And now she's become money grubbing, you know? Yeah, what? It's always happens. It's the same thing. That's a brilliant way to describe them too. And I love this song too. Like, it's genuinely one of my favourite songs, just all time ever. I love the way they're kind of just like crawling around the cage. It does really remind me of a level in House of the Dead, and it's brilliant. Essentially, now they're trying to show off that you can cure blindness with shock treatment, because Jonathan's parents are stupid enough to believe that. I also feel like Richard O'Brien's got a lot more room to breathe to sing in this, you know? Because in Riff Raff, he had to be quite kept as a character. You know, he always had to be quite kept and everything. But now he can just be, like, belting out as much as he wants. So this shot here is just simple perfection. There's not much to say about it. The way they're all parading around. It's a great shot. Like, it's simple choreography, but it's effective, and that's what matters. Think about this. All this takes place within about 2 days. Like, a day at least. And I was talking about this earlier with my friend Gemma, and it was just the most absurd thing. This takes place in about a day. When does anyone ever have time to go to the toilet? The most we ever see is that Janet has a shower. But apart from that, nothing. See how fame has gotten to her head now. I just like it's a very simple observation, but it's just like the way she's finally found something to fulfill herself. You know, just being a simple, you know, just desperate, just worn out housewife. It's so weird because it's always the same crowd and nothing really matters in this town. Oh, look at that dude on the far right. Just look at his hips. Oh. Oh, I love it. It's so 80s. I really have a love-hate relationship with the 80s. It's like, I love it because it produced some of the most iconic music, but it also produced some of the most garbage. You know? Oh, absolute garbage. But, yeah. So as to the fashion was horrendous. Also, this shot's pretty good because you don't actually know it's Ruby Wax and Charles Gray over there in the corner. Ooh, and The Rock. That was her actual hair as well. That is not a wig. That is someone's actual hair. Just look at that hair. I wish I had that hair. I mean, think about it. They got kicked off TV in about a day. A day. 1 minute she's hosting her own TV show, and now she's been kicked out of her own office. And now they're going to go dress up as nurses to blend in. We are now exactly an hour in. Woohoo. Only 35 minutes left. As if that's going to help. Look at how sweaty he is and like dishevelled. He's growing a stubble within a day. And not to mention he hates Brad because he's, a homo. But like, but then he's like, Brad, I'll be back. Don't worry. Now Janet's in a fever dream. And so is Brad. I love that. Like, it's just so unnecessary. The way all the lines are recited weirdly. that's one of my favourite things ever. Like, I genuinely can't even tell you how much I love, like, just saying that with no one understanding because they've never seen this movie. And I don't think anyone ever has except me. It's much like the game Rocky Interactive Horror Show. If any of you remember that, I'll put a link to that in the description too. My 2-part, 3-hour long live stream of me playing that game. I've completed that game twice and I regretted it both times. Not that it's like I hate Rocky Horror, but I hate the game. It's genuinely one of the worst things I've ever played, but I love it so much because it's Rocky Horror. It's just got this sense of nostalgia putting it. Like I only played it like for my birthday last year, maybe the year before. But yeah, I've only played it like for about a year. Like since last year, my birthday. That's when I got it. Yet like still, it's just there's also 3 exclusive songs with it, and it's amazing. Also, this scene here with all the kids dressed up as gangsters, and it's great. You gotta say one thing, like this is the most feverish dream sequence you'll ever get. Space Invaders. Space Invaders Part 2. Well, it don't make any sense. It's just a drug scene, you know? This is what the song about Frankenfurter looking for, blood to make him, like, come back to life would have been. So it probably... It's not about now about how she's the chosen one who needs to bring, help Brad, out of his depression. If you notice here, it's the windows again, but you don't notice that, If you just watch this once, you just think it's a random street. But this set is used so many times, but you never notice. It's actually brilliant, this movie. Like, it's secretly a masterpiece. She savoured every single second of that. I love that face that he makes there. I love how they kind of keep Felix Leathers in secret the whole movie. Yeah, they have him on show the whole time. Also, this song's just really funny. Well, not funny, but fun, They're essentially singing about how selling out has become like really good for them. I do love them glasses that Richard O'Brien's wearing. I really love the American Gothic painting in the background too. You know, a little callback to the Magenta and Riffraff moment. Yeah, I just like the fact that in both movies that Richard O'Brien has been mainly involved in, you don't actually know what he looks like. Because in the first one, he looks nothing like Richard O'Brien, and the second one, he's wearing massive glasses that you can't even see his real face with. Rick Mayall, sing your heart out. I love it. Love it. That I know it's just a 2 second moment, but it's so amazing. Also, notice how he's got like the very easy choreograph. I bet this mirror scene was really hard to set up too. Like you gotta appreciate the effort, because filming mirrors is always hard because you never want to get the camera in there. And just it's little moments like that where they immerse you within the camera that just it makes it feel less like a movie to you. Like you don't really notice it, but it's more like a subconscious thing. It feels more like a recorded event, which would also explain this movie so much more, because it works so much more as just a recorded event than something that was made. So Patricia Quinn is one of them rare cases where she didn't like wearing pants. She did not like the fact she was dressed like that. She wanted to have a nurse outfit. Oh, Ralph Hapshot. Ralph Hapshit. Shakes your head. Swallow. The break into the woman and the computer. Which is fun. There's also a ZX Spectrum and what's the other one? Oh, ZX Spectrum and the other computer game playing system, whatever. What was it? ZX Spectrum and the other PC like game thing. ZX Spectrum and there was a ZX Spectrum game for Rock Era anyway. Also, look, there's the throne from Rock Era. Essentially, it's been revealed Cosmo and Nation are character actors. They're not actual doctors. What? Notice how the camera doesn't even look at her outfit, it's just her head. And all the people are clapping because, you know. So essentially, it's just been revealed Brad and Farley are twin brothers, and one of them, Farley, got sent downtown into the poorer district, and Brad got sent uptown to the richer district. I also love this bit where I love this song. It's very punkish. Oh, there's Linda McCartney. I don't know if Archie is Linda McCartney. Well, it's, it's Linda McCartney. A lifetime of deposit. There's a long time on the closet. So now they're going to take Brad back to Five Flavors. That shot there is just brilliant, the way she realises that they're twins without even knowing. I really do like this film. It's got so many subtle details that it's just great. I love this gag here with the president thing. And it's just, you see this sleazy looking guy. Just everyone sits down disappointed when they find out he's just the president of a car company. It's kind of funny. Almost brand new. Love it. Yeah, I do love the fact it's just this sleazy guy comes out when they say the president, and then they all just sit down as soon as he reveals who he is. Oh, it's great. I love this bit here where he tries to walk back through the curtains and just. It's so obviously fake, but it's so. This movie's such a fever dream, honestly. I love it. An hour and 18 minutes? Wow. This felt like no time's gone by. Like, this movie's got the, like, great pacing. Not as good as Rocky Horror, because Rocky Horror flows like hell. Like, there are no slow bits in Rocky Horror. There's never anything boring happening. Essentially, what he's trying to pull off is, to the audience that are complete idiots anyway, is that Janet solved his blindness by being beautiful. Ugh, it's so dumb. I mean, think about it. They got this massive stage at the front of the studio where all the audience sit, and then when the other shows are on, they just switch it to a TV screen. It's crazy. Coming up now is my favourite song of this movie. Although it doesn't beat out Shock Treatment in terms of greatness. It's a crazy guy. It's so melodramatic, this bit. I love it. I like how his hair gets all unkept now because he's going a bit crazy. Well, he is crazy, it's just like showing off now. This is Cliff D. Young singing with himself. It's great. I'm just gonna stay silent during this bit. And unlike with I'm Going Home, I'm genuinely gonna stay silent because I do love this song. I do love I'm Going Home more, but Yeah, that's definitely my favorite. So I think it's just done so well. The split screen is like there's only like a couple of shots with it, but it looks great. Like not to mention like the actual like character design of Brad and Farley is so different that you can't really tell that they're going to be played by the same actor. Like this one dude who was reviewing the movie said it took him a ridiculously long amount of time to realise that they were played by Cliff DeYoung, both of them, because they're all done great. It's done so greatly because they've got different hair. One of them's got glasses. Brad's face is just a bit more confused looking, and Brad's got a more stubbly face now. Farley's all, clean shaven. This bit here is so weird. Out, 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 out. The band's just done with this. It's crazy I think that Rocky Horror is rated a 15 and then this movie's just rated a PG. The sequel to Rocky Horror is rated PG, not even a 12. Although in Ireland it's still rated 15. So look, Janet can easily be replaced. This is what I was saying earlier about, you know, everyone's replaceable on TV. So they don't really care about their own daughter anymore. It's just greed. Like this movie predicted reality TV so well, it's mental. That means nothing, honestly. This bit here when they all go into the insane asylum, oh, it's great. Wait. I also love the organ music playing the theme song. It's just, it's great. Hey, look, they're having a party. Obviously, the police officer, played by the original Brad of the London cast, is easily sold. I love this shot here of him running with the organ playing out. He's so incompetent, it's funny. I love it. We've never heard Charles Grace sing before, and I love it. He's not even that bad. I really do love this movie. It makes you feel great. Honestly, it's got such a good ending. Like the ending's so weird because they all the like nothing gets resolved with the villains. Like they just kind of run off into their own little asylum, reveling in the money all this marketing made with all the ratings and stuff. And in the end, I do like that their marriage is solved. Like, they didn't really need any of this help in the first place. Like, their marriage was perfectly fine before. Oh, Charlie, don't trip. It's kind of sad because he's so old here, and you can tell, but he's having a great time anyway. I really do like Charles Gray. It's a shame he's dead. Like, he doesn't have so much range as the other actors at all in any way. Like, look at this. They're all just. It's just a complete insane asylum. Like, it's a perfect like the way reality TV like it just captures the minds of the weak-minded fools. Like, oh, it's such a good concept. I really can't believe how Richard O'Brien came up with this in 1981 as well. Like, before reality TV was ever even like conceived, and he came up with it. It's fantastic. The sun never sets for those who ride into it. And now I'll leave you with this wonderful overture. And then my favourite version of the Shock Treatment song. So this is me bidding a farewell to all of you. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one, which will either be Beetlejuice or a different movie. Ooh.